كن بلسما يمحو الأنين وسعادة للآخرين ذا رحمة وفضيلة كالماس كالدر الثمين.
So good evening everybody, and thank you for coming, and thank Mr. Ahmad for putting together this little event. First, a few words about what is hydro for the one of you who don't know, maybe very few of you, so I'm going to go fast on that. It's not really a new technology. People tend to think that this is something very modern. In fact, it's starting many years ago, and this presentation goes always ahead of me. I'm sorry about that. Here. So, in fact, it's starting very close from here in the famous Hanging Garden of Babylon a long time ago. That was the first hydroponic in history that we know of. And there was many more. It's not really the place here to talk about that, but there was some raft in South America, people growing on lakes and stuff like that. So hydroponic is not really a new concept. Of course, what we do today has nothing to do with those previous days, but just to let you know that this idea is not something new. It's something that could come into mankind a long time ago. Why to grow in hydro? It's basically there are many reasons, but one that is relevant here is to save water, and it saves a lot of water. We use about 30% less water than with traditional methods. It reduces the space you need to grow plant. It reduces the time you need to grow plant. And it brings quality to the plant that makes it resist to pests much better. So in this way, you don't have to use as much pesticide. In fact, we do not use pesticide in our systems, never. We have more, of course, more yield in less space and in less time again. And it's also a very good technology when it comes to propagating plants. Some of our clients use that only for propagation, for instance. Then you can replant in soil and put the plant in your garden or sell them if this is your business, right?
One thing I'd like to add, if you see the presentation Mr. William and Ms. Musetta gave, she's there. They always say there's an increase of yield of 30% versus soil. That's assuming best yield soil in a very good environment that doesn't dry water. But if we look at Kuwait's environment and literally compare the soil culture of Kuwait, which is not even soil culture, it's fertigation, passive hydroculture, and compare it to hydroponics, we don't see 30%. We see thousands of percent. We see 2,000% savings. Our environment is based on sand. Sand has no mineral content. So anyone who's growing commercially in Kuwait soil, usually most of them have something called fertigation. We have an amazing conglomerate of very amazing growers here. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming. Sir William, we have a very diverse group. Okay. We have the master of hydroponics, we have the master of organics, and we have a couple of mix in the audience.
Welcome.
Very interesting.
Welcome. So I hope this problem is fixed. It's going to be a little bit less sketchy than the beginning. So anyway, I was coming to the point that it's growing more plants in less space, faster, better plant. It's not very important if you don't have quality. And this is the main point of what I want to say. It's we grow for quality. Our technology, hydroponic is a word that encompasses many different technology. You can do really very bad things. And actually, hydroponic has a very bad name because most people use it to grow absolutely uninteresting food. It is not what we do. What we do is to grow plants that we select for the quality of their genes, because you cannot do better than the plant get in the genes. But what we can do is completely unlock all the blocks so that the plant can express completely the best of its gene. So one difference with what we do and the traditional hydroponic growers is that we select variety that have taste and nutritional value. And it's really something very important. Again, if it is to grow water, it doesn't have absolutely no interest. I just want to tell you the two different parameters that exist between soil and hydro. When you grow in hydroponics, there are two things that you have to take care of. One is the pH, and the other one is the level of salt into your water. Our pH, you all know what it is. It's a scale that's go from acidic to basic. And in hydroponic, we grow every plant in a slightly acidic environment. Even if it's a plant that like a basic soil, in hydro we will grow it below 7, between 5.5 to 6.5. I'm not going to go very long on those technical things. It's not the subject here today, but just for you to know that the pH is much more important in hydroponic than it is in soil. One of the reasons is because your roots are directly in contact with the medium, in that case the water. And so the dynamic at the root level is extremely different than the dynamic in the soil. And it is actually one of the advantages. In soil you have a lot of blockage that happen for many reasons. One of the reasons could be a pH, but there is also insect, there is also competition between different elements, and so on and so forth. So in hydro we take away all these problems, most of them, if not all of them. And just to show you on that chart very briefly, that shows how different it can be, the absorption of element according to the pH. This is why I usually use, some people like to keep their growing at a specific pH. I prefer myself to let it move a little bit between 5.5 and 6.5, because this way there is no element that is in advantage over the others. But again, that is not the subject today. It's just a very quick introduction of that concept. Testing pH is easy. We make those drops, and we have more, and it's really used to spend money on testing pH. A few drops in a bottle will tell you exactly what you need to know. You don't need to know if it's 6.2 or 6.3. All you need to know is it is in the good range. And the second thing you have to monitor is your conductivity. Pure water does not circulate electricity, so the more salt you put, the more conductivity of electricity in the water, and this gives you a good idea of what salt you have in the water, but it doesn't tell you which salts you have in the water. So this is our job, to give you a balanced solution that will not accumulate in the solution, that will be in equilibrium, and that the plants are going to intake equally. So at the end, no element should accumulate in that water. So those are the two parameters that you have to check when you grow hydroponically. It's not very complicated. You don't have to be a rocket scientist again. It's our job to make it easy for you. It becomes difficult when you want to make your own solution and all that, but if we're trying to, again, to make the jobs easy for the growers. A few words about us being General Hydroponics. It's a company that started in the US in the late 70s. Lawrence Brook, who is the founder of that company, started in North California. A bit ahead of his time. It was slow to start, but then in 82, 83, it completely exploded. As soon as people knew exactly what we could do with that, it really exploded. Nuseta Kedi, my wife, and myself, we came to Europe in 95. to create a branch of that company, General Hydroponic US, so we are General Hydroponic Europe, and now Mr. Hamad is General Hydroponic Arabia, so the story continues.
Still starting. It continues and there's a new journey, hopefully.
Yeah, and we hope up. Someday technique works with you, other day it works against you. So, one specific of our technology is oxygenation. Plants that grow into, if you put a plant in a vase, for instance, it's going to die pretty soon, because pretty soon the oxygen will be out, the water will be with no oxygen, and your plant is going to die. So really the one big secret of hydroponic, especially in your climate where the weather is really harsh, is to oxygenate. So we make systems that really have a high level of oxygenation. And this system really works even in high climate. We had some, we are in the south of France. The weather is not as extreme as yours, but the temperature in our greenhouse can go up to 45 degrees, which is already a lot for growing plants. And we are able to keep those plants alive, and better than keeping them alive, to grow them and continue to have a harvest even when we go through those extremely heavy weather. We always lose a couple of plants. You will always lose a couple of plants, but even if in a normal climate, you always lose a couple of plants. It's like people. Some are healthier than others. No two are equal, but all together we can grow in a very extreme environment. When the rest of the system fails, ours still works. There is a limit, of course. Boiling water won't do it, okay? But in most climate, we manage to grow plants, and actually most of our clients, commercial clients, are in places not sometimes as harsh like yours, but Caribbean island, South Africa, India, in places where also the hot weather is a problem. And here you have the advantage of having a dry climate, so that dry climate is very useful to be able to control and cool. So we make all kinds of systems, starting from hobby system, but the subject today is more about micro farm and small commercial operation.
To medium size. Hopefully we're going to cater to the small to medium size enterprises in Kuwait, which is up to $500,000 based on the SME fund and the definition of what a small and medium sized business is in Kuwait. So micro farming was family growing. But the people you see here are small to medium size. Okay. Most of them, I will assume, and they have up to $1.5 million that they can get up to in investment. This is what every Kuwaiti right now has, part of our government's encouragement for us to go and diversify into SMEs. And
actually,
one technology.
Yeah, actually, the concept of microfarm, it's evolved a little bit over the years. But at the beginning, our concept of microfarm was really something cheap to install. Like, today you can have automatic watering, automatic feeding, and you can control completely your environment. But the idea of microfarm was to offer a system to people that they can control themselves by eye without having to relate to expensive equipment or heavy equipment. So in fact, somebody could start an operation with just a system like the one you see on this picture, for instance. It's not automatized. It is possible to automatize it, of course, but at the beginning the idea was just to have a family being able to grow for themselves and to bring some of the crop to the market. Supplemental income and quality food for the house and the family and the friends, okay? So this evolved, of course, because people started with that and had very good results. So then they become more ambitious, and the idea grew to medium size, like Mr. Hamad was saying, and more commercial operation. But really you can do it also on a very little scale like that to start and learn and understand the concept. And okay, the concept is again quality. We do not compete on what is on the big operation today that again make food with absolutely no interest. We don't like to do that. All our clients have a success and rely on quality and sell to high-end restaurants, high-end grocery store, specialized grocery store for good quality food, food with no pesticide. We have had often analysis of our product, and we always come with twice the content in vitamin and mineral salts, and no pesticide, no residue of any kind. When we grew medicinal plant, again, we came up with twice the amount of active principle, which is another niche crop. It's to grow plant not for food, but for medicine. And this is a part of that of that technology that is developing more and more. We have clients now that start to grow for molecule extraction. It's also another business, not only food. But if you grow food, you have to grow them again for quality. And the way to do that is to first identify your market. It is very important. Just to show you the same system with some plant into it. This is an operation, one of the first we did, and this is, if I remember well, this is in Russia, if I remember well. It's the other extreme. My God.
Just to add to Mr. William, these systems are already established in Kuwait, and there are farms in Kuwait using aeroplanes to grow tomatoes, some are using Dutch buckets to grow tomatoes, some are using a lot of processes, but it is already established in the country. It's down to some people having literally a channel that's dug down 5% incline and some water flowing down. So this is already established, and each system, of course, comes with its own technical costs, but that goes back to the operations. We will handle it.
So this first one we did was in Perm in Russia, close to the Ural mountain, where the problem was the exact opposite of that your problem. It was really cold. So anyway, so it works also in extremely cold climate. This is an operation that is in France, growing tomatoes with a lot of success. But you see, you have all kind of tomatoes, and most of the tomatoes, you notice that yourself, most of the tomatoes on the market today are not really of good quality. So again, the one they grow, they rely on quality, they sell to the best restaurant. They sell about double the price than anybody else, but people is happy to buy them at this price. Chefs love good quality food. They are hungry for good quality food. They love you if you can bring them something fresh that you've been harvesting the same day that has a real taste. It's got a lot of value for them. This is in France also, growing strawberries. So you can I'm really sorry. It's really. That was our first operation with my wife many years ago when we were in California. We had our first greenhouse was in North California, and we were serving all the market around the Bay Area, and we had a lot of success. We were sorry when we left.
I'm sorry for the question, but how long ago was this?
Oh, that was in, we left in 95, so we operated that in the 90s. Or the first half of the 90s.
25 years ago.
Yeah, it was 25 years ago. Again, we've made some progress since then, but not very many. The technology was pretty much perfected already at that time. But you know, every new concept, again, hydroponic is not new, but the idea of growing not more food, but better food is rather new. And every new concept needs some time to develop. So in those last 25 years, we didn't do a lot of change in terms of systems or in terms of nutrients. We still use the good old nutrients I will tell you about after. But the progress we made was to find some supplement, develop some supplement that will increase the quality and increase the life in the hydroponic systems. I'm a big fan of bringing back life. I do not like the idea of just having a mineral nutrient in my system. So I've been working all those years to found elements elements that you find in soil, like humic acid, fulvic acid, things like that. So slowly we took everything that was in the soil that is good, except the rocks, and we put them in our system. And every time we do that, we increase quality, we increase yield, we increase health of the plant. I think we reach the top. Every time we think we reach the top, but sometimes all the time we find something new. But it's getting more and more difficult to do better, believe me. We've been doing that for so long that now we are kind of, what can I do, what I'm going to do next, you know? But we always find something to do next. And the next, after everything that is in soil, we are now introducing microbes, bacteria, fungi, that helps the roots survive very hot weather, that do a lot of other things, help plant intake elements. And my presentation is working by itself while I'm talking.
Right now, I think everyone has a background of your expertise on pioneering first original plant food, as Mr. explained in the earlier session. And even the plant food, do you see that the plant foods and the technology stayed as it is since 76? Like from what I know, 76 was the first set of nutrients, and then they moved on to a different kind, and it keeps on evolving. So the latest evolving is into... This nutrient was developed by Carl Herman, Dr. Carl Herman, who is a NASA scientist. He was the head of the water department at NASA, the American Space Station. In these years, NASA was thinking that they would make a space station with men inside, which did not happen, by the way. And they thought that to do that, they needed to make some food in space. And so this gentleman designed a concept of 3 bottles. And with these 3 bottles, the way you play with them, you can adjust to the nutrition of about any plant in the world. And any stage of the plants, from baby plant to growing plant, from vegetative to flowering. So this way, they didn't have to bring to space a bunch of different nutrients. There's just 3 different tanks to address everything. And of course, since the time that nutrient was designed, Dr. Kellerman continues to study. We learned a lot, and so a lot of adjustment has been made over the years. And it's a continuing process, of course. There is always a scientific paper coming out, and we always learn, and so we adjust always a little bit. But the basic concept stays the same. It's always 3 bottles of nutrient to adjust to everything. And one of the difference between this and most of hydroponic nutrient is the level of micronutrients, because micronutrients is really what help give taste and quality, nutritious quality to plants.
And many, the traditional hydroponic nutrients lack a lot of that because it is the most expensive of the elements. It's a lot more expensive than the main salts. And as you know, farmers tend to cut corners and save what they can save, which in my opinion is not a good idea. I prefer to spend a little bit more money, but have a crop that is worth more than if I really, try to cut corner all the time. Another difference of the microfarm concept is that instead of growing one crop in a greenhouse, we grow it like a garden, like people grow a garden. Diversity of plants, diversity of crop. And one advantage of doing that is that in terms of pest control, it's much better and much easier. When you grow a single crop, you grow tomato, you're going to have a pest that loves tomato. It's going to take over all your tomato, and you're going to have to fight that pest very much. If you grow a variety of tomatoes, a variety of different plants, just maybe sometime one corner of your greenhouse is going to be attacked, and it's a lot easier to control. And also, you have a lot more to offer. If you go to a chef and say, "I have tomato," yes, but what else? You know, you have only tomato, okay. You have basil and what? So, growing a variety of plants at the same time, open markets. Then you can go to a chef and say, okay, I have that list of plants, but this is not the way to do it. The way to do it is the contrary. When you start microfarm operation or commercial operation, the first thing to do is find a market. And I'm not the one to tell you what you have to grow. You are the one to know. The first thing to do is you go to the chefs, you go to the restaurants, you go to the stores, and you ask them, what do you need? What do you miss? What do you don't find? At what season you don't find what plant? What would you pay? What plant would you pay a good price if I can provide you a good quality? So this is really the first step. Define your crop. So, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. William. Mr. William has a different experience than all of us here. I see some people that I'm going to continue in English as this is, I was advertised as an English lecture. If anyone has a show of hands who cannot speak Arabic or does not understand Arabic at all. That's done, we're done. English all the way. Okay. Thank you, Mr. William, for the introduction regarding technology. Most of the people here, I assume, are here to do business. And is this business good or not? Okay, we didn't get you here, or we didn't get you here to tell you that hydroponics is the best in the world. You don't need to hear it from us. It's been already producing for 30 years worldwide. 40% of all America's tomatoes come from Arizona, and they have every single climate they have. The Negev Desert actually is exactly a copy of our desert, and they have been producing their own food locally and exporting 1979, if I'm not mistaken. So anyone who thinks I'm going to actually push for this technology, you are wrong. If you even have a doubt that hydroponics works, this is not the place for you. This is a place for understanding the business of food. Now, this stuff is fun for growers and us and people. Usually people that grow food and sell it have a background in the technology. But I'm going to start with a slight business plan to sell it. Of course, are we a food-eating country? Yes? Do we like food? I know we like a lot of Nutella when we can't grow Nutella, but don't you think we have a lot of people who want vegetables? Do you like tomatoes? Okay, does anyone know how much we import of our vegetables? Percentages, please. How much of our food that we eat in this country, that is we have so many restaurants right now, we want to call ourselves the food capital of district of the international world. So, inshallah, every day we have some restaurants opening. So we're in agreement that this is a business, right? There is a need for this, right? Okay. Now, I'm an engineer. What does that have to do with plants and farming? I started into the business because I'm an engineer. I go to my factory, I see processes. I went to a factory with my father. I saw a fish farming factory actually. My specialty is fish farming, intensive aquaculture. So when we talk about TDS and pH, I laugh. Two things. You have to test for ppm and I'm very sorry for anyone who wants to speak in Arabic, but there are people that don't speak the language, so I cannot speak it. If you can wait for me to finish, and then I will answer you directly in Arabic. Otherwise, it's out of respect of the people that came here, I have to continue with the language. Unless the people that don't speak Arabic allow me to speak in a language you don't understand, and you lose your time. يعني بس إن شاء الله موجود لكم أجاوب أي شيء بعدها إذا شيء مختص. Where was I أصلاً? Where was I? Okay, let's go back to say that there's a huge demand as a business for food. Clear? Okay. I'm going to go through the standard business process thing. Number one, what's happening in the world? In Kuwait, actually. Global populations are rising, 60% more food is needed by 2050. In Kuwait, I think it's 7,000% more food, not 50. We are above the average of the world. I'm not going to go too deep inside into the environmental effects of the world, but global warming is happening. Now, anyone who doesn't believe it, just wait for some more proof. Food waste is astounding numbers. We are producing food, and then by the time it gets to the people, they are cutting about 40% of it. People who have restaurants, who operated the restaurant here? Who has a restaurant or any kind of salad? Who makes salads at home? Okay, when you make salad, how much of the salad do you throw away? When you get the lettuce, you are usually, maybe someone before pre-did it, before processing at home. You're wasting your time in cutting the outside, and you're losing 30% of your lettuce. And that 30% that you threw outside took a space in the car, and it took your time. That's all value, right? So literally you lost some time and some space. Food waste and time waste. People are they don't want to lose time. Okay, since we know that food is extremely important and vital to Kuwait, farming and hydroponics switched to manufacturing. I want to borderline say, and that this is not farming anymore. الفلاح, I'm proud to be Falah, but I am a farmer of space. When I say Kuwait and Mars grow together, we are not kidding. We are extreme environments. If we fight our summers, we're losers. If we fight our winters, we're losers. Our sun comes like it wants. It gives us extremely laser rays, 12 hours a summer. It gives us 6 hours in winter. So we are not a seasonal growing country. Our seasons are closed, small, and they don't grow anything. So we turned to, like the rest of the world, to use our desert and our strength. What is our strength in our country? High sun, dry desert, dry air, and a lot of people that like to eat, and subsidized water that's coming right from the sea, clean for us, for 1 pils or pilsane. Even with the increases, we're going up to 5 pils. What it really costs the country is above that. This is something that we have to understand and realize is a strength. In addition to subsidized electricity. I'm an electrical engineer. I'm going to ask you a question. Let's see how much aware you are of your country's subsidies. We pay 2 fils per kilowatt hour, right? So, pilsane ala kilowatt hour. El kilowatt hour شنو? It's the time it takes to spend, it's 1 hour of 1 kilowatt, 1,000 watt hour spending. It costs Kuwaitis 2 fils. What is the real cost? If you consider Kuwait as your country and it's when you subsidize something, you're losing your money. How much do you think the minimum reserved number of electricity is? Real? 40, 45. Thank you. That's the minimum. Some people go up to 80. So we're now assume I'm going to cut it back 10 more. Let's go 30. So we have 2 fils, and we are being subsidized how many times? 15 times. That means if you're end of the month, you pay 100 KD, you're literally spending 1,500 KD of your money. Then this is our oil and this is our country and the subsidies for us, but we're paying it out of our pocket. So 15 times, this is the result. So again, this is a bad thing, but a good thing. The country is subsidizing electricity for us to be advanced. We have cheap water compared to the world. Not a lot of it, but cheap. And cheap electricity, not a lot of it, but cheap. So we have to be sustainable. We have to use our water in the best way possible. All this culminates into one thing: manufacturing food using hydroponics. Why? Of course, I think, does anyone have no background on the 90% saving of water, the faster growth, and all that thing that hydroponics is? I see a master here, so every time I simplify, I remember that some people maybe don't have a background. Okay, just I have to repeat this. Hydroponics saves 90% water versus traditional soil growing. Why? Simply because the water is in a closed loop. So the tomato wants 10 liters, it eats 10 liters, and then that's it. Nothing goes out. But if it's in the ground, to feed it 10 liters, I have to put 100 liters. And 90 will go down, 10 will be for that plant. So I'm losing 90 just to give it 10. That's off the top. In hydroponics, you have control. We have some soil growers here, and I want to ask them something. How did you do when صقيع, I don't know what that's called in English, but the extreme cold, crystallization of water? Frost, sorry. Okay, when frost happened, what happened to the potat that you guys were doing? One day of frost, what happened? Not like overall, I don't want specific cases, but what I'm trying to say is one day of frost, one. Like, went, all of the soil farmers went, we want ta'weed, we want subsidy, no, the weather did us bad. Okay, expect the weather to do you bad much more. We had snow in Shamia. Snow, not pretty. Not hail. And global warming. So, long story short, in addition to our environment being very hostile, it's going to get hostiler. So, the smart thing is to control the environment, take what we want of it, make a factory of food and work. This is what hydroponics is. It's the production of food in a very controlled environment that produces what you want. Now, this is the concept of the manufacturing. But let's not forget, just like any other business, you're selling something. Okay. I'm going to take the example of Mr. William with tomatoes. Tamam? If you sell standard round tomatoes in the distribution channels in Kuwait, one, you grow and you take your produce to the auction to get the subsidy of 20 fils per kilo, 10 fils per kilo, and then get your produce out to a group of very controlling people that can control the prices and buy everything out. So you're getting 100 fils for something that you want 20 fils from the government for, and the guys that are buying it for 120 fils are selling it for 1.2 KD. So the farmer is like the end. Why? Because he wanted the subsidy. Okay, why did they get 1.2 KD when the farmer got 1.2? May I ask? Why doesn't the farmer get 1.2 directly? If the tomato is grown by the farmer and sold for sold for 0.1 and given by the government 0.02, so 120 fils, 120 fils. And then the people that buy it ultimately sell the same thing for 1.2 KD. Why is it, Mr. Ali?
The farmer's not allowed to be inside the auction.
Outside the auction. Is it? That's a new... even if he goes in, they're going to find a way to fight. And I was talking about the Jam'iyya, the end result, the consumer, where the 7 levels of selling goes.
Logistics, distribution channels.
Thank you so much. Logistics, distribution channels. When you grow a produce, who has any, of course, a lot, everyone knows the business model canvas, the small one-page business plan. When you grow food, just like anything else, you're selling value. What's the value you're selling in your tomato? If you want to have no value and low cost, you have to go economy of scale. Get ready to have 40,000 to 50,000 square meters to produce something in huge amounts that is so cost effective to you that you just blast the market from the bottom without even putting a label. Just tomatoes for 100 fils, خلاص, done. Get me with my price. I don't even have to put anything. I'll put it in a basket. Not a basket, that's too much for it. Actually, a plastic bag and a garbage bag, and I'll sell it. This is economy of scale. Okay, there is another thing which is called value addition. Okay, do you want to compete with someone that has 50,000 square meters and doing the same crop, or just go get the zebra tomato and the black tomato and the Roma and the Roma F1 and the tomatoes that no one else grows and the colors, and sell them? Which is easier for you? Actually, that's very subjective. Some people have one, some people have two. There's no right and wrong. Some people have the skill to sell, some people do not. Some people have 700 kinds of tomatoes and they don't know how to sell them. Someone has one kind of tomato that grows like a desert flower and can sell it like it's something amazing. Like, you've all heard of gold nugget tomato? أحد سمع بالأصفر? Okay, it's a weed in my garden. It comes out every year between البلاط, and it grows It's that easy to grow. It's like one of the easiest tomatoes it's so easy, and I stopped growing it, and it's growing غصب علي. If I know how to market it well, I'll sell it very well. So there's a value that you add as a businessman, as a farmer. There's a real value and there's a fake value. Okay, when I just described this, just because smooth seas are in Kuwait and no one knows anything about growing, it doesn't mean that you can abuse it and keep on doing that. If you understand what I mean, you're a pioneer in Kuwait, but always know that you pioneered something that it's already been done. Someone will find out. Don't think you're the smartest in the world. You're not the only one who went to a couple of restaurants in Soho in London and found this new crop. It's gonna come. So you always have to pioneer. In terms of, okay, so as a business, you have to choose what you're gonna sell. Always go opposite. Now this is, I'm gonna call it a factory of food production. Let's forget what it grows. As the intro to hydroponic SMEs, you are an SME, a small to medium-sized enterprise. First, what are your strengths? You speak English? Do you know cooks? What do you like? What can you sell? Where can you sell? What can you do? This is something you answer to yourself. And then choose what your strengths are. I like a lot of food. I go to a lot of community tables. I know a lot of chefs. Okay, I have a community of chefs. That means I can sell something to them. I can tell them, I can go to the chef and tell him, what do you want that's not here? You tell me what to grow for you. Contract growing. That's the best way to start. You go to your client, and instead of thinking and assuming that your good product will sell itself, no. This is Kuwait. This is not somewhere else. You go sell a product and then turn back. When I first started, at least in this business and a couple more, my brother told me something very amazing. He said, close your farm, which I did in 1 year. Before I opened it, I did a lettuce farm like 10 years ago or something like that. He said, don't sell. Don't. I told him, why? I'm going to manufacture the best in the world. خس خيالي مو طبيعي. Amazing lettuce. He's like, how are you going to sell it? And the market's like that. I don't know. The lettuce is good and clean. How can someone not buy it? 1 year later, I was like in the Farda, which is the auction, and I didn't use any pesticides, no herbicides. It's not certified organic, but it was very clean, and 350 pills. For 6 pieces. That was astoundingly, at that time, it was lower than the whole market. And the scale was 1,000 square meters. One old lady came to me and told me, I told her, auntie, this is the herbicide free and good for you, and there's no poison and all that. And she looked at me and she said, my son, in the end, it's going to be maraq, stew. So, what are you doing here, yani? So I thank her for saying to that. Then the second day I closed the farm. Second day, I came back and I said, I had a partner at that time. I told him, you have one of two things. You either expand this 5 times and give me 6,000 square meters so I can do economy of scale, or we close the farm. I'm not going to continue being a lab rat going around. I don't produce enough to get the price. And then I closed the farm and we continued on. But did I add value at that time? No. Why was my brother right? Do you know what he was telling me? Hamid, go to Saudi Arabia, import, sell, get a market, and then produce. Don't go producing before you find your market. So I told everyone, first find your market before you produce. Producing is easy. You want to produce orchids, it's done. Flowers, it's done. Liliums, it's done. There's nothing in the world that's not produced. You can do it. You are business people. We are not growers. You will pay someone who will come and do their job. There's an operation manager. This is a business. Someone who will be selling. So don't assume that you, as a farmer, will be able to do it alone. This is a wrong way to approach a business. If you want a business, you'll have to know that the business of growing is not like growing. And I know this firsthand. Once you get into the business of growing, you stop growing. You go into management, looking who's going to sell, who's going to buy, what's the new technology, who's doing their job, who's not. You stop growing, khalas. That's it. So that's the business of growing. For small to medium size businesses, they have one up over big whales. Big whales, or big fish as they call them, the blue whales. They're amazing, they're big scale, and they move, and they can't turn. Like, they have all the market of a certain product in Kuwait, like 80% of the market. But they're like this, they can't move. The smaller ones are the ones that pioneer. And they have the ease of change. When Mr. William talked about the MVP, which is the small micro farm, I always said, internationally, no one should start a farm without a pilot. What does a pilot mean? Do you know a pilot for a TV station? Or radio. A pilot is literally a test. But then, like with the new business model canvas and the new business plan of Harvard, there's something called minimal viable product, MVP. So you literally grow a little product and then test it in the market. Check, are they liking it? Should I change it? Okay, upgrade. Once you hit that product, that works, and then scale up. So you're not wasting money, and you're not wasting a lot before you scale. So knowing where, and then there's an old Kuwaiti saying, diversify and you will lose. It's true. When you're small to medium size, focus. Focus on a market, focus on a niche, and be the best at it. Don't think you can take everything. You want restaurants? Which kind of restaurants? High-end, low-end? You want schools? What kind of schools? You want crops? What kind of crops? Once you focus as a small to medium-sized business, you can enter and grow. So it's a business just like any other business. With these days, if you look at New York City, London, value adding is about selling the same product because it's cool. How can I sell a product that's cool and you do the same product? Like, our watches really, the Cartier watches, concept value addition, are they really worth the material in them? They're worth what? What's the brand? What is the brand? The brand is the image people have. You as farmers and small to medium size, you have a brand. What's your brand gonna be? I'm the most expensive? That's not a nice one. What I would recommend, I'm the cleanest and I am the best, and you are safe when you eat from me. That's the best brand you as small to medium sized enterprises use. Right now, the big scale farms are using extremely bad methods that people do not know about. And you as a small farmer will know them, or small to medium size, or I'm going to call you a niche farmer. You're going to know them, and then your competition will be based on what? They're using this, which is against the minimum residual levels of the country. When you get into farming, you'll understand what the technicalities of it and how to market your product. If you can't get deep into your business, maybe farming is not for you. And I have to be honest, farming is not for everyone. And business is not for everyone. Know that just like any other business. If someone opened a restaurant with less than 50,000 dinar bil Kuwait, you can go do a farm. If someone made a restaurant with less than 50, and it actually was successful, not because of luck or wasta in a good mall in front of location, you are smart. You can do something. Same goes with SMEs. Markets. The easiest market is restaurants. They are until here. They all have the same problem. They all want stability, and they all want the same product year and day. They just want the salad to look nice. They want the tomato to be standard all year long. So you have a huge market that is suffering. Go to restaurant owners, ask them, what are you buying from? What are you doing? You will see. So study the markets and then choose a market and you can go ahead. There is who knows the business model canvas? Just a show of hands. The one-page business plan. Who has any background about it? Okay. I'm going to just explain it in Arabic quickly. قبل كان في دراسة جدوى وبزنس وخطة دراسية هالكبرها. الحين السنة اللي طافت من سنتين يا واحد بهارفرد كان يقول لا ليش تكتبون لي كتب بصفحة واحدة 14 كم سؤال 7 أسئلة نصهم إن حليتهم تقدر عقبها تطورها تسوي بزنس بلان هالطولة. لأن منطقيا لما أنت تيجي تدش سوق جديد إذا تبي تصير أرنست يونغ 10% increase per year. من يبي الأرقام هذه؟ أنا أبيع شيء مو موجود بالكويت. كلها تنبؤات وتأولات. فالبزنس بلان القديم كان كلك بكلك. يحطون أرقام literally they look good but they are not true. ما في أي مصدر يطلع النصج. If you're selling a new product in a country, how can you know how the people are going to see it? I don't know. HKL. I am going to Ernst & Young and the top 4 and tell them, give me a market study on what will HKL do. Do you think they're going to tell me no? لا ما راح يقولون لي. أروح حق أكبر الشركات أقول لهم سوي لي دراسة على إني ببيع HK. شنو HK ما أدري. كم تبون؟ 10,000 دينار هاك. بياخذ 10 يرجع لي. He's going to come back with an amazing write-up of a presumption based on top 4, and I'll take it to every bank and then get whatever money I want because this is the right way to do it. It's wrong. Hence the business model canvas. It's linked into a couple of. I highly recommend everyone to do this, and this tells you what your business is. The first part is who are your key partners. من هم شركائك الأساسيين. أنت كمزارع أو كتاجر عندك شركاء أساسيين تخدم المطاعم شركائك المطاعم تخدم الجمعيات شركائك الجمعيات تخدم الزبون مباشرة شريكك الزبون. هذا من ناحية لأنه هو اللي لازم دائما ترجع له تكمل وترجع. تيجي حق الصوب الثاني شريكك التكنولوجي. من اللي بيعطيك التكنولوجيا عليها؟ طبعا بعدين عندك الكي اكتيفيتيز. طبعا بالمزارع كلها انتاج غذاء. هذا كي اكتيفيتي. تسويق ومبيعات. وما ادراك ما التسويق ومبيعات. هذا كل واحد بطريقته. هذه بس كلمه تسويق ومبيعات. انا اسوق بالفرضه، انت تسوق بالسوق، انا اقول انا منتجي نو ون هاز ات، انا بزرعه ماكو منها بالدنيا، ماكو الا عندي 16 نوع هرب، كل واحد يتميز بطريقته ولازم نطلع السوق. القيمه المضافه هذا اللي راح يكون اقوى شيء حق المزارع الصغير لما توصل الحجم. لما نستورد الاكل من برا شد بلادك، اول ما تزرع هني you are winning by buying local. You have more shelf life. You have more loyalty in your product. You have people that want your product because it's from the ground and it's environmentally. In addition to having nationalism, use it. People like Kuwait, use it. Say it's Kuwaiti. Be proud and say Kuwaiti and proud. You like the environment, use it. Say I'm doing this for the environment. If you're doing it, why not use the marketing for it? Everything in marketing, whatever your vision is, use it to market. Why? If you're doing it just for money only, God help you. And there are other people that are doing it and they will crush you. They will crush you. Anyone who's doing something for money will stop and stagnate, and someone will step on them and move. That's in any business. مو بالزراعة. Okay. But I'm going to go quickly. Some people know this very well, but the segment of a market. And you have two basic segments of any market: B2B, B2C. يا تجارة لتجارة أو تجارة إلى الزبون. تجارة لتجارة أنت باك إند حق تجارة، سواء كانت تعليب سواء مطاعم، أنت تبيع حق مطاعم، تبيع حق تجار، فأنت B2B. High volume sales، ولكن your clients are low، بس المارجن مالك أقل. شنو؟ لأنه راحة، ما عندك تسويق. بعدين هي طبعا حتى البي تو بي يتدرج وايد. بي تو بي تخدم انت بزنس، اي بزنس قاعد تخدم مطاعم، تخدم مستشفيات، تخدم احد قاعد يسوي سلطات، تخدم مال طياره، تبون ناسكو، تبون شنو تخدمون؟ اختاروا. هذا البي تو بي. عندك البي تو سي عاد هذا اللي فيه بيزات عاليه ولكن تكلفته عاليه. انت الحين لما تبيع الجمعيه تبيع الخس بدينار ولا بدينار ونص، بس عم تأجر جمعية، تحط الموظف، تحط التسويق، تبيع. فالبي تو سي ممتاز ولكن صعب إذا بتاخذه بروحك. ولكن للشباب for small to medium sized enterprises, and this is in Arabic because it's only catered to Kuwaiti nationals, because something is happening in addition to the SME fund. هذا بتكلم بقولها بالعربي لأنها مختصة في الكويتيين. مو عندنا صندوق الوطني للمشاريع الصغيرة. ف ايش بيصير؟ لأنكم كويتيين وصار عندنا الحين أنا أسميها سحابة المشاريع الصغيرة. صار عندنا سحابة تشيلنا، بس عندنا مكان لنا نسوي أوراقنا. one stop shop, two stop shop. كل جمعية قاعد تقول الزود عندي يا شباب تعالوا خل أرعاكم. كل من يبي يسلم مع الشباب ويوقع معاهم. فمسكوهم وسحبوهم وتلوهم، اخذوا منهم أماكن ببلاش، نزلوا زرعكم بالجمعيات، مسكوهم على كلامهم. تصاريح قاعد تطلع كل يوم وترك، كل جمعية قاعد تقول أنا حامية الشباب. مسكوهم وروحوا لهم، يلا كانوا منتجين، ما راح تاخذ عليه شيء. Use what you have. There's a lot that's coming and a lot of it is marketing. وايد قاعد يسوقون. أنت ومسكوا التسويق ومسكوا ردوا عليهم، استعملوهم، انتج وبيع عندهم. كذي أنت صار ربحان. مارك سلطان مثلا ولا كارفور ولا غيره عشان تاخذ مكان تدفع إيجار. أنت منو عشان تبيع عندي؟ تدفع. جمعيات amazing places، سماك سنتر بالنص ومنتج كويتي وتحط اسمك عليه وتكتب منتج بالكويت، واعرف ليش اصلا منتجك احسن من غيرك. اذا انت ما تعرف من الزبون بيدري، فانت عرف ليش منتجك احسن من غيرك بعدين سوق له. هذا طبعا عامه بكل شيء وبالزراعه بالاخص. عندنا نقص غذائي شيء خيالي بالكويت، خيال. انا استحي مرات من عدم انتاج الكويت لغذائها. واحنا عبرة بحر قاعد ينتجون بصحراء وماي صليبي ويصدرون، واحنا 2017 للحين نجيب من برا. فانا اقول صندوق موجود وهذه بزنس كبير ومسكوها. لا يغركم تعقيدها، ترى ما يبلها ولا شيء، اسهل منها ما فيه، يبلها بس مثابرة فقط. ومثل ما تفضل sorry Mr. William, but I'm going with English and Arabic depending on if it's for the fun people I'm going Arabic. If, by the way, everything I'm saying in Arabic is catered to the Kuwait SME fund and it's marketing in the fund, so I hope you're not missing too much. Okay, the channels of sale for B2B. طبعا عند غير المشتقات وين تبون تبيعون، عندك هول سيل مبيعات جملة، قطة وفك منه. كونتراكت سبلايز، هذا قبل لا تزرع انت موقع، تعال تبي اعطيك انا اخذت ب 650 فلس، كم تاخذ مني بالشهر؟ عطني عقد الحين، قول لي انك تقدر تاخذ الحين وانا اجيب لك اياهم واكسر لك سعر السوق سنه كامله، انا ربحان. الحين فكرة السوق هي هذه كانت الندوة الحين الساعة 8، الندوة مختصة حق مدخل الزراعة المائية التجارية. تكلمنا أن الغذاء تجارة عالية بالكويت بشتى أنواعه. عندك واحد يا تختار الشيء اللي قاعد ينوكل أو أنك أنت تخلق اللي ينوكل.
يرضي الخير وارض الطيبين، مثل طيبك يا الحبيبة ما لقيت، انتي احساس المحبة والحنين، وافية ديرة فيها ربيت، انت يا ارض الخير وارض الطيبين، مثل طيبك الحبيبة ما لقيت، انت احساس المحبة والحنين، وافية ديرة فيها ربيت.
آمري كويتنا لا
آمري كويتنا
وابشري باللي تبينه الكويت، كلنا لك الحبيبة حاضرين، تحت أمرك الحبيبة بيت بيت.
عاش أبو ناصر